Trying to find the most popular electronics, toys, and gifts is proving to be a challenge for many of us this holiday season. As a result, lots of people are turning to so-called product trackers. Right now, there are more than a dozen apps and websites available that alert shoppers when items are back in stock at retailers. CBS News Moneywatch reporter Irina Ivanova joins me now for more. Irina, always good to have you on the show. I think that there's a lot of people who have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how they can get these in-demand gifts and are frustrated. Tell us exactly how these apps and websites work.
That's right. So imagine you're a shopper, you're on a retailer's website, and you're just refreshing the page to see if something is in stock. You might be checking to see if the add to cart button lights up. You might be putting in your zip code to see if anybody nearby
checking
has
all
it in
stores
stock.
within a 50-mile radius. Yep, done it.
Exactly. And so the way these apps and websites work is they basically automate that process. They have a little bot or a scraper that checks that website for you. You can sign up to be alerted, when something is in stock within your parameters, the particular item you're looking for, and then they send you an email or they send you an alert to your phone. That is basically how they do it, so that you, the shopper, are not driving from store to store or sitting on your computer, 24 hours a day, just hitting refresh like a maniac.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good, but I imagine that there are limitations, maybe some possible downsides to using these product trackers.
That's right. They're definitely not foolproof. The most common complaint that I've heard from people who use them is, you still need to hustle to actually buy the product. So you could get an alert that something is in stock. That doesn't create any sort of reservation.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
understood.
And some retailers, they have different criteria for what's in stock. They might categorize something as back in stock when they've had like one customer return. You can imagine if there's one in stock and 5,000 people getting an alert, several thousand of them are going to be very disappointed when they try to buy that console. So for that reason, there's also a really large community of humans on websites like Twitter and Reddit. They're gamers, they're tech journalists who also do their own tracking of these hard-to-find items like gaming consoles, like specific toys. In many cases, these human trackers actually have better information, or instead of just telling you, hey, this thing is back in stock now, they might know historical patterns. They might know, that some retailers get restocked certain days of the week or certain times of the day, and they'll actually alert their followers, to be ready for a restock at such and such a store at such and such a time. Sometimes they're also in touch with workers at those retailers or workers at warehouses who will tip them off.
So you mentioned these gaming systems. I know from several people that items like the PlayStation 5 are really hard to find. Even though they've been on the market for more than a year now, they're still not able to track them down. Why is it that some of these gaming systems and electronic toys are really so hard to find in the first place? Does this go back to the chip shortage and the supply chain issues?
That's right. There's two major reasons that these, especially these consoles, are so hard to find, and the chip shortage, the supply chain issues that we've seen with all kinds of products. That is one of them. There's slightly fewer consoles being made because of the semiconductor shortage, and they're just taking longer to get through the ports and to get on the trucks and to get through the stores. The second major issue is resellers, or scalpers, as a lot of frustrated shoppers call them. With something really hot and expensive, like a console, where there's a huge demand from people. There's lots of desperate customers who, especially at this time of year, who, want this for their kids, who are just trying to get their hands on a console. There are a lot of resellers who have perfected the art of going in and buying up large amounts of these anytime they're available. In many cases, these resellers are using bots that are actually automated buying bots to buy up large numbers as soon as they're available, and that is absolutely contributing to the shortage.
Irina, that makes me think that scams are a possible problem. Is that a problem when using these trackers? And if so, how can people protect themselves?
So they're not so much a problem with these trackers, because the tracker really just tells you, when a website has it back in stock. You might get a lot of false alerts, but they're not necessarily likely to steal money from you. I have heard from lots of tech journalists and gamers who are tracking these issues that scams are a huge issue. The number one tip that they gave me is if you're in the market for a console, try to go with an established retailer, someplace like a Walmart, a Costco, Best Buy. Many of these retailers are actually making these hot items available through their membership options. So you have to, pay a yearly membership to get a first crack at something like a console. Some consumers would be willing to go for that. But even if you get like a third-party seller on these platforms, you are more likely to be protected, if it happens to be a scam. But be very, very careful when you're shopping on Twitter, on Facebook Marketplace, or on Craigslist. If you come across anybody who requests to be paid via Cash App, I've heard across the board that's just absolutely going to be a scam.
Okay. And these are big ticket items in many cases. Irina, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lana.